Hey, what is up, everyone? It's the Crypto Coach Blockchain Wayne. Some of you just know me as Wayne, and maybe you want to take a look. Maybe you've heard about cryptocurrency. Now is a better time than any to really dig in, start learning about cryptocurrency, start learning about blockchain technology. Why? Because you need to get positioned in front of the wave. Now, I'm not saying that, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are not volatile. And if you invest without understanding what you're doing, you could lose money. So I'm not telling you to run out and buy. What I'm saying is dig in and dig down and get the education you need. I'm going to point you to some resources like I do every week. Some of them are free. Some of them cost a few dollars a month. But either way, start understanding and learning more about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, because even the big companies, the institutions are starting to get keen on Bitcoin. And why are companies buying Bitcoin? So you saw last week Square bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin. The company, the financial company Square Reader, they jumped in. They put 1% of their total assets into Bitcoin. You look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is a company that has a publicly traded company, has over $1 billion market cap, and they've put I think right now it's over $400 million into Bitcoin investments. Of their cash reserves, of the company's holdings, they put into Bitcoin. Now, are they thinking that Bitcoin's going to go straight up from here? Obviously, there could be some volatility. Obviously, we could see the price go down before it goes up. But people are starting to realize the trajectory, where this is going. But also, you have to take heed with what's going on with governments, what's going on with inflation and printing. And I shared a post last week, I think it was, 22% of the total US dollars that are in circulation. And some of those are digital because, right, we don't see the paper, right? It's all numbers in a computer. But 22% of the dollars in circulation were created this year. Now, that should be scary when you think about how long money has been printed, how long money has been in existence. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense when you think about many areas of the country and even in the world have shut down. They're shut down. Businesses are operating in a limited capacity. There's not a lot going on from there from an economic standpoint. In fact, just the supply chain itself has slowed down drastically. Yet, other than the big dip we saw in the stock market in March, we continue to see the stock market rise in value. And why is that? Is that money is being pumped into there. So that's why it's important companies understand what's going on with the US dollar, what's going on with dollars in general, whether it's the US dollar, the British pound, or anywhere else. We're going to see, when we look back on this year, I think we're going to see probably at least, I personally feel, a 10 to 15% inflation rate based on the amount of money that's being printed, right? There's already been $3 trillion spent in stimulus funding, and there's going to be another 2 trillion probably before the year's over with. And that is just compounding the issue. So why Bitcoin? You look at a lot of people this year have flocked, and even companies have flocked to Bitcoin, have flocked to gold. And I'll tell you, there's a select few other cryptocurrencies you need to learn about, because anybody can create a cryptocurrency. So there's lots of them, but there's a select few that are really doing something unique, or have a good use case that's going to drive demand. And Bitcoin, my personal opinion, is going to be more of a store of value. You're not going to use Bitcoin every day. When cryptocurrency is widely adopted, you're not going to walk into a store and pay for a candy bar with Bitcoin. But large transactions, major transactions, the best place for those to happen are on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? Where it doesn't really matter as far as the fee, because even the fees when Bitcoin is 5 to 10 times worth what it is now, even the fees to send and receive are going to be way less than to move that same amount of money through traditional institutions. And that's why it's important to understand what is cryptocurrency, what is blockchain, and really start to dig in and understand, why should I know about this? Now, is there a rush? No, absolutely. The rest of this year is probably going to be very minimal. We do see the price of things tend to pump a little bit, but you have to look at the big picture, right? There's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. You may wonder, well, why is it even worth getting? Because of the way Bitcoin is divisible, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You can invest $5, $10, $50, $100 into Bitcoin, and just get a small portion without having to buy a full one. But out of those 18 million right now that are in circulation, because there's a schedule where they're gradually released, which is block rewards. You'll learn more about that as you study about blockchain and proof of work and how that works. But the supply of Bitcoin is fixed at 21 million, but it's released over time and it's gradually decreasing. So as the supply is decreasing, the demand is going up. Remember, I told you about those companies. There's a bunch of companies now that have invested tens and hundreds of $millions in the Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, obviously we could see 20, 30, 40% even drops in price because the price is volatile, but only a small fraction of the total Bitcoin in circulation is actually traded. So what does that mean? The little bit of Bitcoin, and I say little bit in terms of in relation to how much is really out there, the little bit that's being traded on exchanges is what's dictating a price right now. That's not really a reflection of the value of what it means. And that value is going to continue to go up in people's eyes. I'm not talking about on a chart because you could buy it today at 11,000. It could drop to 7,000 before it goes to 20 or 6,000 even. Those are all possibilities, but the mindset is over the long term, you can't ignore it because you have to see what's going on with governments, with the printing of money, with all the different things that are happening within government spending. Just it's driving inflation. And I tell people all the time, it's important for us to know it. If you're in really the 20 to 50-year-old range, say 25 to 50-year-old range, it's important that you learn about this because at some point in your life, you're going to be utilizing. This is not just going to be a speculative investment like people are getting in now to buy, but it's going to be for our kids and especially for our grandkids. They're not even going to understand the dollar. They're not going to understand a bank where, you have to deposit money. You have to wait 3 to 5 days before you can have access to it. That's going to be foreign to them because the technology is going to evolve by then. Just like the internet, the way it's evolved from the 90s until now, we never thought we'd be doing the things we're doing on the internet. And now when we tell our kids, and if you tell your grandkids about how the internet was in the early days, they think you're crazy. It's crazy to think. And that's what's going to happen with finance, with banking, with decentralized finance as that continues to evolve. So, it's important to get in and invest in your education. And because, even a speculative investment, I'm at the point now where I tell people it's probably not a good idea if you don't have at least 1 to 10% of your portfolio into Bitcoin and select few other cryptocurrencies to hedge against the dollar. Now, also, it's best if you want to learn how to trade. We've got some tools. One of the companies that I work with quite often, I'm their brand ambassador, News Crypto. They actually have a website, newscrypto.io, where you have trading tools that you can utilize. And all of the beginner tools are free. A lot of the educational tutorial videos, which I help create, those are free as well. And it gives you some of the basics, right? You want to get deeper. That's why I also, partnered early on this year with Blockchain Training Academy, because they have more in depth and they go into depth about the technology and the projects and the different things. Whereas News Crypto gives you a good general overview for free to look at, but also some tools to help you as you're trading, because trading is really where you can make some money as well. But it's a skill that you have to learn, and you have to master the skill and the discipline to be able to do it, because it definitely, it takes some control. It takes keeping a handle on your emotions, because when, markets can be, irrational sometimes. And just understanding like, hey, if the price of Bitcoin dropped tomorrow, if it dropped 40% tomorrow, most of you, if you're holding Bitcoin, you're going to panic. We all wish we could have sold it, but if you miss the chance to sell it before it drops, then that's a buying opportunity to accumulate some more. Because I believe, can I tell you what the price is going to be in a month? No, it could be 15,000. It could be 5,000. But in the next 2 years, I feel we're going to be well past that 20,000 plus mark for Bitcoin, only because the demand is continuing to increase. Institutions are starting to take notice of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain, and they may dabble in a few other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is still the main one, but I said that's going to be kind of like your store of value. And then when it happens, when the demand continues to rise and there's limited amount available on exchanges for people to buy, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is you're going to see value skyrocket. That's what happens anytime there's a limited or low supply and there's a high demand. You see that happen every day with goods, right? We saw that happen years ago with several years ago with oil and gas. The demand was high, the supply was supposedly kind of low, and what happened was we saw gas $4, $5, $6 a gallon in some places. It's supply and demand. So that's what happens when you see that. I mean, hell, you saw people earlier this year selling rolls of toilet paper online for $15 or $20 because the demand was there, but there wasn't enough supply. So that's why it's important to learn about crypto, to learn about Bitcoin and blockchain. And I'm going to share a link in the comments, and I'll have to go because the way I'm streaming right now, I can't really see anybody's comments. So if you're watching, thanks for watching. I'm not ignoring if you're commenting. I know I'm streaming to a few different places, but there's an issue right now between StreamYard and Facebook where it's not showing me the comments. But Anthony Pompliano is a very well-respected guy in the cryptocurrency space. Probably, I don't want to say he's the smartest guy in the space because I think Andreas Antonopoulos is one of those, but Pomp is one of those that's up there. And he puts out a letter, and the letter that he put out today really struck home because he talks about the case for Bitcoin. Now, he's obviously saying you can't tell what's going to happen in the short term, but he goes through all the points, some of it what I talked about, the quantitative easing that we're seeing is happening with the printing of the US dollar. The Fed's balance sheet's gone up 75% since the beginning of the year. And the average investor fears inflation. So that's why we're seeing people try to hedge against it with gold and with crypto. And in essence, Bitcoin. So the increase in demand, from what he says, is just the beginning. When you look at what's happened, as more forward-thinking firms really start to take a look at, think about as these companies start to say, should I have at least, because it was a speculative investment to now it's becoming more and more mainstream that institutions should have probably at least 1 to 10, probably 5%, somewhere in the middle of their total assets in Bitcoin and a select few other cryptocurrencies. So what does that mean? That means when they start looking at it, that's when money's going to start to pour in. Values are going to start to go up. And it may be very volatile at first. And don't think big institutions that have the ability with large purchases to move the market, that there may not be some trading going on to try to drop the price to get it lower before they go up. But it's kind of like compressing a spring. The more and more you push down on a spring, it'll go down. But when that pressure finally builds, and it releases, the spring shoots up. And that's what's going to happen. That's what happens with markets. That's what happens with cryptocurrency and blockchain. So I'm going to share the link to that letter after I'm done with this live. So if you're watching this live or recorded, look in the comments, every place I shared this post to. I'm going to go in and share that article because the article, it's about a 6-minute read. And the article even has the option to play his audio where he reads the letter to you. And I just want you to take a listen to it, whether you're into cryptocurrency and whether you're into Bitcoin or not, or whether you're just in the stock market, or maybe you're looking at, maybe you've got money in the bank, you're trying to figure out what to do with it. If you leave money in the bank right now, it's probably the worst place to leave it. So listen to this or read this letter from Anthony Pompliano and just listen to what he's saying. He gives and the reason I like him because it's not just somebody out there saying, buy this, invest in this. No, he's giving specific points as to what you need to understand what's going on in markets in general, with currency, with banks, with gold, with Bitcoin, with institutions that are starting to take notice and get into the cryptocurrency space more and more. That also provides more and more legitimacy, because some of your friends and family, maybe even you, may have looked at Bitcoin and certain cryptocurrency in the past and said, oh, it's all a scam. And have there been scams in cryptocurrency? Absolutely. But there's also been scams in the stock market and real estate. There's scams everywhere. There's money to be made, right? But people that just didn't really didn't dig in to see what it really was, just dismissed it as a scam, they're going to start to take notice and realize, if this is a scam, then why are all these companies, why are these institutions investing in Bitcoin? And maybe I should take another look. And that gives legitimacy to it. And what happens when there's a buying frenzy? You see the prices begin to go up. Like I said, as a spring, you could see it compress and you could see a pullback even. but over the long term, that trajectory is still going up. So that's why it's important to do that. So I'm going to share that link. Try to share it now. But if it doesn't go over to where, if it doesn't go to all the places I shared it, then I will go back and post that comment there. So make sure you take a look at that. It's the investment case for Bitcoin. It's about a 6-minute read, and it definitely will show you some good points as to what to do there. So let's talk about education real quick before I wrap this up. I always like to point out the resources that I'm behind, that I work with these companies, because my focus is education. I realize to get from point A to point B, which means to get from it just being a speculative investment to being widely used, there needs to be some adoption. More and more people need to catch on and understand it and not make it so hard. So that's the resources we got. So first and foremost, one of the things I want to show, let's see here. All right, here we go. So this is on Twitter. If you follow newscrypto.io, every week I submit a report, and it's a how-to crypto report about education. This week I was talking about digital collectibles and that space of non-fungible tokens. It's more than just digital collectibles. There's a lot of use cases for it, but it's a sector of cryptocurrency you may not have thought of, but you may want to take a look at it and learn more about it. So I've got that link there. And also every week from the news, it's important to keep up with what's going on in the news. So every week, submit a video, make a video for News Crypto, which just summarizes what's happened over the past week in cryptocurrency. Some of the top news, what does it mean? What has it done for the market? And so that's there. And they also share a lot of information about the project from their wallets and everything else. But if you go to the website, you've got all these tools. You got school, you got an academy, which has some basic crypto courses. You've got tutorials, which are basic videos about cryptocurrency and blockchain, the general stuff that you need, maybe one understand. One, if you're just investing, and there's a few videos about basics of trading that you can get into. Again, you can create a free account with this and be able to browse the site. But if you decide to join, they do have an option to where you can join with their token. And sometimes, in some cases, if you decide to stake a certain amount of tokens, you get free membership. And what does that mean is you're staking on their platform. But at the end of the time period that you lock it up, you still have those tokens. So in essence, it's cost you nothing. And you may have even made money if the token's going up in value, which it's done very well so far. But you can get free memberships. But beginners tools, they have a lot of different tools in here that you can utilize. And this is what I like this from a trading standpoint, because everybody, I've said this in past broadcasts, everybody that invests in something is a trader. If you just bought stock and you're holding it for 20 years, you're just a long-term position trader. You got into the position with the intention to sell it for more value than what it was when you bought it. And so you have trend traders that maybe only trade once every few months based on when the trend is reversing, whether it's going up or down, to dictate whether they're buying or selling, whatever the case. And maybe some people are just trade the short-term trends, and maybe they're trading a few times a week. And then there's people that are day trading that are in there making trades every single day. But you got to figure that out, and then you can go in and look at all the different things here that gives you information, because learning to trade is not just learning how to read a chart. The chart is only one part. That's just saying what could potentially happen. But then starting to understand the fundamentals and the different things about, maybe the calendar, airdrops, or things that are happening with the project that can show you when it might be a good time to buy or sell. Those are all things that News Crypto gives you. And like I said, that's all in the beginner tools. And then they have intermediate and advanced tools for people that want to get in and, pay a small monthly fee with the News Crypto tokens. So that is something that you can get into. But education is the biggest thing. I'm not telling you to go out and buy anything. It's really up to you. What I'm telling you to do is invest in your education, and then that'll dictate what you may want to do. And if you got questions, send me a message. Send me a message either to my Facebook page or to my personal page. And just, let me know if you got questions or have a concern, or you heard about something and want to know more about it. I do one of these videos. I get multiple people that reach out to me over the next few days I just want to know about this. Want to know, hey, I heard about this. I heard about that. And I'm always going to just point you to the information. And then we also have Blockchain Training Academy, which has more in-depth courses about the technology. We have a little bit about trading, but we also dig into a bunch of different things, topics where we go deeper to show you more about cryptocurrency and blockchain. So that's why I partner with these two companies, because they're not just focused on selling you a coin, selling you a token. It is centered around education. It's centered around teaching you more. And that's really the ones that win. Those that invest in education, because if you just go into something and you download, say, a Coinbase or Gemini or Binance account, and you just start buying something because you heard about it on Twitter, you heard a friend talking about it, you're just gambling. But the more you can understand about a project, about the fundamentals of it, and then ask questions to people that know, right? You can get into a group that'll tell you that this coin or token is going to be worth $589 one day. And that doesn't mean it's going to happen. They're just trying to hype it up. But if you get into groups like some that I can recommend, and I'm going to share in the comments below, that can teach you at least how to look at projects, how to research projects. And actually this Saturday at it's going to be around 8 a.m. Central Time on Saturday. Now calculate that to whatever it is in your time zone. 8 a.m. On from the blockchain. Me and myself and Bilal, the founder of Blockchain Trading Academy, and a few other people, we're going to be doing a broadcast to talk about how to research projects, how to dig in and look into what's going on with the project. Does that dictate that the price is going to be a success? It's going to go way up in price? Not necessarily, but those are key indicators that if you don't have those, then even if the price does pump, chances are it's not going to be sustainable, and that project will eventually die. I mean, we've seen it happen a lot over the last 4 years where projects don't have a lot of substance. They have great marketing, so when they get out there, the price pumps up and then it crashes and it never recovers. So that's why it's important to learn that. So we're going to be teaching you how to dig in and how to really learn more about how to research a project, how to research a crypto project. So whether you're been in the space a while, want to see some tips, or maybe you're brand new and you want to look at how to get started, then jump into those. And in the meantime, jump into News Crypto, take some of the free courses and lessons, and I'll share the links to Blockchain Training Academy as well, so you can take a look at those. That's really it. So if you've asked questions or if you got questions, make sure you ask them. I'm gonna come back and answer those. Like I said, my comments are not, if you missed that part, the comments are not really showing up where I'm streaming from. So if you've commented on one of the places I'm streaming, I'm gonna go back and answer those questions. Or if you have a question you didn't want to ask in the post, then send me a private message and ask me about it. I'll be glad to help. Because that's what it's about. The more people that understand this, the more people are going to realize where it's going. And if you haven't been paying attention to what's going on with our financial system, with banks, with government, if you see what's going on, it's definitely concerning. So you want to learn about options and what are our options. And decentralization, decentralization is really the key. And true peer-to-peer permissionless systems where you don't need any authoritative figure that can say you can or can't spend this or buy this or whatever the case may be, because it truly gives you freedom. And that's really what we all want. We're all seeking more and more freedom in many different avenues. And that's a topic for a different live or a different day. So, but that's it for today. Thank you all for watching live. Those of you who are watching live, thank you for watching recording. If you're watching the recording, and I'll see you all next week. Take care, everybody.